All right, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to session 3 of the Land Profit Masterclass. Super excited to be here with you guys today. Again, today we're talking about creating a land cash machine, world-class land cash machine. We're talking about the 8 keys to scaling. We are actually giving you some bonus information or content because we recognize that yesterday we didn't cover it. We forgot to cover how to do comp analysis, how to value properties. So we're going to be working on that as well today. But how is everyone feeling? Give me an emoji showing me that you're feeling A-okay, that you're ready, that your coffee's ready, that your water's ready, that you're hydrated, and you're ready to rock and roll. And
your lunch is ready if you're in the East Coast,
yeah,
for that matter, right?
Join the biggest party on the planet.
All right, I see Gabriel, I see Stephen, I see Jonathan, I see Denise, I see...
Hey, Stephen.
So who else?
If you guys want to turn on your cameras, I mean, that's the beauty of us being here on Zoom as well as on, on Facebook. Hey, Dustin, hey, Denise.
I see Rennie.
Hey, Jonathan. Charlie, being able to see you guys. Oh, and Jeanette is here as well. Hey, Mahealani. Did I say that right?
Yeah. From Oahu, right? From or at least from Oahu, correct? Yeah. Or at least
Big Island.
Some got muted, so we just on Big Island. That's right.
Wonderful.
I saw something posted. You posted something the other day. Yes, Ricardo, Colin, Unique. Okay, wonderful, guys.
It's 9 o'clock on the dot, so let's go ahead and get started. Today, you should be having your workbooks ready to session number 3. Which is page, I don't know what page it is. Does it have a page number?
Page number 9 or something like that?
Yes, session number 3, okay? So this is where we're at. And today I want you guys to lock into a state of gratitude, because today we're gonna basically share some tactics, but we're also gonna be sharing with you a plan for the next 12 months, basically 90-day chunks of sprints that you're going to be taking as you grow your land business and turn it into a real land cash machine that is self-managing, that is self-leading, that allows you to be the CEO of your life, that allows you the freedom, that we all crave and are looking for, and that really gives you that peace of mind, of having cash confidence, of knowing that deals are coming in consistently, that deals are being closed consistently, and that therefore profits are coming into your bank account consistently. So that's what we're covering today. But before we go into that, we're also going to be covering, like I said a little bit earlier, a little bit about valuation and comp analysis that we forgot and missed covering yesterday, which would have been better with yesterday's topic, but we're going to cover
do
it
that in just a second. But also, guys, I wanted to just thank you again. Like we have a winner to think, but give me a moment.
Yeah.
It's like also I want to congratulate you guys already on those who have participated so far in the homework. I mean, the homework.
Yeah, the homework keeps on being on fire, guys.
It's crazy. It's amazing. It's wonderful seeing the homeworks posted. We're seeing already how you guys are committed to changing your life. Right, the barriers are being broken with land flipping, like the best and simplest method in real estate investing, right? We see those hundreds of comments that were in there, and it's absolutely fantastic to see you guys do that.
And so many of you, actually, I have been on DM with some of you. Sorry, I'm so excited because let me tell you, I've been on DM with some of you guys, and some of you are already have picked your counties across different states, 6 to 8 counties. Some of you have gone over already to a list broker, whether that be DataTree or Agent Pro, or you said a title company or counties. You have a list already and you're getting ready to mail it out. Yeah. And I am just amazed, and people in prior master classes have been at this point as well. So if you're not at this point yet and you haven't done the homework from yesterday, I suggest that you get it going, you get it done, okay? Because you could already right now by the end of this week be already sending out your first set of letters.
Right, because remember, guys, you are the change agent that you need to be for your family. You are the solution, right? You are the answer to the prayers you have been waiting for, right? You just need to be connected with the right technique, which is what we're doing this year, what we're doing this week here, with the right team, with the right support, right? So I can't wait for somebody, I don't know, 6 months, 12 months, perhaps 5 years down the road, asking you, hey, what was the turning point in your life? What was the turning point going from mediocrity to or failure to that life of abundance, life of success, life of multiple six figures, life of being debt free, life of not having a job, life of being able to travel and doing the things that you and support your church and support whatever your family or whatever you want to do in life, right? So I can't wait for you to say, like, you know what? When I look back, the time that I pivoted, the time I pivoted to profits, the time that I focused, the time that I committed to myself and committed to my own success, right? Through the land profit method, that's the time that I can pinpoint to. And I want this week for you guys to be that pivot. Like, who wants that pivot? Who wants that to be, who wants this week to be the pivotal time in your life? Give us a heck yes right here.
Yeah, we want this to be the last masterclass that you have to attend, or the last event that you have to attend. No more chasing shiny pennies or entrepreneurial ADD. You're here right now. You find the one thing, and we're excited to bring you through it.
Right.
Okay, so I just wanted to very quickly also mention the Amazon gift card goes to Joan Burdick Brocales. Congratulations, Joan. Super excited to send this to you.
Amazon gift cards being
$200.
emailed to you. The way you set that up on Amazon is you just go in, we'll request your email address from you, and then you'll get it in your inbox literally probably sometime by the end of the day today. So congratulations.
Yeah. If you're on Facebook and you're watching this live, go ahead and say #live. If you're watching this as a replay, make sure you say #replay so that we know that you guys are watching and doing your homework and doing what it takes to actually get you in momentum. Yeah, super excited about it. So we have the scholarship winner. I think that's what we had. As far as what's going on the rest of the week, guys, make sure that you keep an eye, if you're inside of the Facebook group, on the banner up on top. All the schedule is up there, and you're going to notice that starting tomorrow, we're going to have extra bonus sessions that are happening only inside of the Facebook group, and you want to make sure that you check the banner up on top. If you want any replays, they're also up on top on the guide section, or send a message to your concierge. If you have not sent a message to your concierge, every single one of these superhumans should be right now your best friend. Every single one has done land flips, is in real estate. I mean, Priscilla is the product of our coaching program, So you have guys in there like Michael that have been flipping land for four years already. So they should be your best friends. They should be the people that you ask any additional questions that we might not be able to get to here during the live, and make sure that you connect with them. Yeah.
David has done dozens of deals. Jennifer is doing deals with her family,
husband,
with her husband. So it's like these guys can help you answer your question if you fall behind, or if something is unclear. Make sure put in a question here. If we can address it, we can address it. We'll address it here. Otherwise, reach out to the concierge and they help you with it. All right.
Okay.
So let's think. So yesterday, again, guys. Yesterday, if we look at it, we went through the key factors in higher acceptance rates. We went to where do you get those counties from, and I must have gone it through really quickly, because perhaps apparently a lot of you guys didn't hear me say it, but some of the places we get those leads from are like the list services like CoreLogic.com. I mentioned it yesterday, but apparently a lot of you didn't hear it. CoreLogic or DataTree or other places like that. Agent Pro 24/7. There's a whole bunch of them. There's hundreds of them out there, right? We did a reverse engineering of your goals.
Mailing houses too. I think you did.
Like mailing houses, LPGletters.com, LPGmailer.com. There's all these things are already in, and our software is actually also already integrated
to DataTree
to that, for example. So with that said, we then talked about, you send out those letters, right? When these letters come back, you do a deal analysis and you make offers. We work to the numbers of it, of how much do you need to send out once you're through that testing phase, once you're to that beginning phase that is so important, because it's that first domino that for those who work with us already in our 12-month program, well, they know that this is the very first thing we do. We actually ask you to get those counties selected and send them to us. We review them. We give you the thumbs up or the thumbs down or say them like, use that later on and so on. And then we give you the right feedback so that you can get out of the get-go, do this the right way. And then you get those going. Well, you sent those, and then you sent those letters out, and then you make those offers. Well, there's a step missing, which we covered, which we forgot yesterday, which is the part about how to find out the value of these properties. Well, the value of these properties, there's actually 5 ways that you can find the value of the properties. And the one way is you can approximate the value of the property through the assessed value of the property. Currently, in the current environment of prices going up steeply up, that is not the best way. So don't rely on that one, but it is an indication. Usually the assessed value is not higher than the actual market value. Usually the assessed value is at or below the market value, but each state is different. In some states, it's like a quarter of the market value. In some states, it's 80%.
Here in Arizona,
again,
it's 2/3.
It's about 2/3, but again, in a stable market. And right now we're in a market where prices are going up rapidly. So therefore, you can't 100% rely on that one. But the people always ask me, Jack, how do you find out what the value of the property is? Like, how do you find out what the value of a house is? And it's like, well, I look at sold comparables in the area. It's like, duh, you do the same thing here, right?
Yeah.
You do the exact same thing here. You look at what's available, because websites like Zillow, Trulia, Landwatch, and other websites like that, they actually list what these properties sold for. Right now, there's another way that you can actually go to the value by looking at just what properties are listed for. That works in so-called non-disclosure states where you don't have to disclose what a property sold for. So you look at the listed value, but also for the infill lots, you can also backtrack through it through the value of the houses around it, because if there's no comparables around in other lots and there's only houses, then the land is typically worth a percentage of the houses. So these are just 4 of the 5 different ways that we've done it. And again, we're just going to skim it because mentioned a little bit. Obviously, it's very simple once you do it. You have a 2-acre property in the path of growth. Remember, the areas in the city in the path of growth or in recreational areas. Well, if it's in the path of growth, there's another 5 2-acre properties in the vicinity that are sold for $35,000. And there's a bunch that are listed for, let's say, $45,000. You got your value at $35,000. You're done, and you move forward making that offer, right? Making that offer. It's as simple as that. Sometimes you got to adjust for the size. If there's no 2-acre properties available, but only 1 and 5-acre properties, well, you got to adjust for the size a little bit, and so on. So and sometimes you got to use 2 or 3 different versions, different ways to get to your number. But as you get used to it, the first time around, it might take you 25 minutes to figure out the value of a property. Guess what? But after you reach mastery, which is what this entire week is about, you can actually do that in 2 minutes of property, in rarely more than that, right? So that's what we forgot last time. Wanted to cover that. But then, yeah. So
if it's an infill lot, you back into it. You already mentioned,
you back into that, exactly. So, but at the end of the day, it's simple and it can be done from at home is the key, guys. Remember, this is a virtual land flipping. You don't have to visit the property. You don't have to inspect for repairs. You don't have to go see how the trees are over there, because the trees can be just as much looked at through an aerial picture than by you standing in front of the tree. You can see there is a tree, right? You can zoom in, and particularly websites like Google Earth and things like that, you can actually zoom in very, very detailed and see a lot of detail on the property, right? So as a result, you can do the value analysis. You can select the counties from at home. You can get the list from at home. You can send the letters from at home through the outsourcing, right, to the mailing house. You can make the offer. You can evaluate the property from at home. You can send the offers from at home, and you can list the properties, which is something we're going to talk about tomorrow, how to create power listings, how the keys and how this all works, and how you create listings that stand head and shoulders above anyone else and make your property sell like this, right? Now, all of this you can therefore do from home. And as a result, you can create your own economy from everywhere in the world, no matter who is president, no matter what the economy does, no matter if there's a virus floating around or not. You simply can create your own economy. Who wants to create their own economy, guys? Right? Put it in the chat right now. Who wants to, or in the comments on Facebook, who wants to create their own economy create the words and create my own economy here.
Yes.
Create my own economy.
Yeah,
here.
they're
Like,
awake.
your own
They're listening.
Yeah,
Woo!
your own revolution, right? You have the potential to create. You decide how much income you want to do. We have Anila and Tara that on track this year to create $1 million in land flipping, and they're not even finished their first year in our business. They're about to finish
Crystal
their first
and
year.
John are the same.
We have Crystal and John. They have created something like $400,000 or $500,000 in their first year, and now they're on track for $1 million in the second year, right? We have Max Fulmer, who's and his wife. They've created $113,000 in the first 90 days, $300,000 in the first 6 months, and now they're on track for about $700,000 in the first year, and then for sure 7 figures in the second year. Again, we have.
I mean, the stories
it's just
countless
never
and
ending.
yeah, absolutely.
You are in charge of your own economy, right? You have the potential to create the income, the business, the wealth, the peace of mind that is not depending on the outside world. Who is excited for that, guys? Who is excited? Give me a heck yes on that.
Yay,
right?
Gianpiero.
Right.
Okay, wonderful. So let's go and let's start with the 8 keys to scaling your land business that most investors don't talk about.
All right.
Well,
so
the very first one is selecting the right areas, which a lot of people
we already covered.
We already covered, and you guys already know that that's the first part of the piece that needs to align in order for everything else to actually work and flow. Yeah, and that you're gonna go ahead and select 6 to 8 counties. That there's gonna be a testing phase. That you're going to choose your counties based on whether you're going to go for path of growth. If you're in path of growth, you're going to be going, from a growing city, maybe 1 county out. If you're going for rural or recreational land, you're going to maybe go 2 counties out, no more than a couple or 2 to 3 hours, which is what a typical family would be interested in driving, no more than that with kids, to go and have some fun during the weekend. If it's an infill lot, then you're going to pick the county that is right there in the city. Yeah.
Right. And one of the couple of keys that we already covered on Monday, as well as yesterday, a little bit more, is like that the areas that you want to look for should be growing, but not in hyper growth, guys.
Yeah.
There's a difference here. Like, again, sometimes areas don't give you results. That's why we select, that's why you sent those into your coach when you work with us, right? But that if they're in hyper growth, even the last seller knows that there's value to the property, and as a result, they're often not willing to give them to you for pennies on the dollar, right? So you want to find that beautiful medium. You also don't want to go after areas where there's no demand whatsoever, right? There's some areas in the middle of nowhere where every lot is only worth $3,000. You can pick them up for $300 and sell them for $3,000, and that's a business model that actually one of our coaches also does. He does over 300 deals like that, 300 deals a year, where he buys for like $200-300, sells them for $3,000 with seller financing, with usually a $500 down payment and $150 a month, and he has hundreds of those cash flow deals coming into his bank account, meaning tens of thousands of dollars coming into his bank account, and he just does that alone with one virtual assistant. Does 350 deals a year, right? So this is obviously a model too.
It's the same work that you're gonna have to apply, to get a $2,500 spread, then you're gonna have to apply for a $15,000 spread. So why not go for
right? So exactly right. So at the same time, though, this works still, but the demand needs to be there.
Yeah.
So you don't want to go into a market. You don't want to select an area where there's absolutely no sales, right? You go look into an area, and all of a sudden you see that there's, like, in the last year, there's been 8 sales. That's not your right area, right? Yeah. That's not your right area. So it needs to be modestly growing. The price range again is $5,000 to $300,000, and then really you creating that domino effect, right? And for those of you, if you attempt to do this yourself, there's a good chance that you actually get this wrong, right? Because we see that even those that work with us initially often get it wrong, and that's why they submit it to our team. We look at it, we then give them feedback, and we make sure that they get it right. Like Megan, for example, Megan and her mom, Megan Autry and her mom, they tried it for 10 months on their own, and they got it all wrong, and they didn't get a single deal. Guess what? 60 days into working with us, they got a bunch of deals. Like 120 days, they hit, or within the first half a year, they hit the 6 figures, and et cetera, and they crushed their 5-year, their BHAG, right? The 3 to 5 year goal, their big, hairy, audacious goal. They crushed that in a matter of 10 months, right? How cool is that, guys?
Yeah, she went from basically telling me, because I had her on my podcast, and she's like, Michelle, I went from being concerned about not having money to, replace a car part because my car, it was close to, you know, to failing, to now not having to worry, you know, about my car perhaps not starting or whatever. So it's completely changed the paradigm for her family, for her kids. She doesn't have to, you know, leave her kids at daycare, because that's what was going to happen. She was going to have to go back to work. She's now working from home, still homeschooling them, still making money, more money than her husband, who's the firefighter.
Right.
Yeah. So she's now looking to retire him and bring him home. So
right. So there's a question I'm going to quickly address, which was like, what happens in a theoretical die-off? Guys, we have done what I don't even, when masses of properties get dumped on the market is somebody's question. It's like, let me explain to you. We have been doing this for 19 years.
Yeah.
We have been doing this in the runoff of 2002, since December of 2002. We have been doing land deals. We have done this in the runoff to the big recession in 2008, 9, 10, 11, right? We have done this in the crash of 2009, right? We have done this since then, when the market was low but stable, right? And then since then we have done this also right now on the rebound right now for the last, like right now, 10 years, right? So, and let me tell you, there is no such thing. Why would all of a sudden masses of people dump it in the market? I don't know what you're thinking there, but we have been in all market conditions, from the recession of our lifetime to the boom of our lifetime to COVID, through everything. And this method has worked through all market conditions. What happens when the market goes down? You just buy cheaper and sell cheaper. Your margins are a little bit smaller. Instead of making $50,000 on a deal, you make $30,000. Instead of making 20, you make $12,000, but you still make money. Anyone okay with the worst case scenario is that you make money? Right? Give me a heck yes if that is a good worst case scenario, guys, because we have done it already. We have run it already. We have been through all market cycles. And when we saw in 2008 and 9 that there was blood on the streets and all the house flippers lost their shirt, we started that's one of the things was like, we need to teach this, because we're cruising through this. We're doing deals left and right here. We're making money hand over fist here, and nobody in the country is doing this. Let us share this and change a lot of people's lives, guys. Yeah. So therefore, I hope that makes sense to you guys. Right? So, okay.
Clara's asking about capital gains. That is
probably in the Q&A session.
Yeah, in the Q&A session, we can definitely. Yeah, that's gonna be on.
Yeah, we're gonna have extra bonus sessions, by the way, on the weekend.
I think there's one on Friday.
There's one on Friday. Okay,
yeah,
great. On Friday. But we haven't defined exactly yet, but we'll definitely do a Q&A session and that and let you know about that. All right. So what else? So selecting the right areas again. You want to do that the right way. So
now we're number two. Number two is the right system.
Having the right system. So here's the thing. Without the right systems, what's going to happen is that you get inconsistent results.
Yeah.
Right. We're using letters, Carmine, not postcards. Now, very simply, postcards work, but they cost half, but they get you less than half of the results. So if you have a county with 10,000 records, and let's say there's 50 deals in that county, if you send postcards, you only get half of the deals.
And why? Because there's no way that you can make a postcard not look like junk.
Right, exactly right. Yeah. So therefore we use letters, and we have specific rules around the letters that make sure that our letters get opened in high numbers and get high response rates, and that we stand out again above any other junk mail that you might get.
Yeah,
in the mail.
Our post box is right here in front of our house. And actually on my way in, I usually go from the back. The garbage can sits outside, before I get into my garage. I go ahead and bring my mail, and I have, my piles of like, yes, maybe, trash can. Yes, maybe, trash can.
So the
postcards will always end up in the trash can for me.
They don't even make it beyond the trash can, right? Yeah. So that's why we use letters, right?
Yeah.
We're doing this different. Everything we do is different than the house flippers, because it's a different thought process. It's a different competitive environment. There's almost no competition. We don't sit down in kitchens with people and have to know all these negotiation tricks to get them to drop their price another few thousand, right? We simply send them an offer in the mail. They discuss it with the family. They send it back. It's all designed to be built around your lifestyle. It's not built around cold calling, right? I don't like being on the phone. We don't like being on the phone, right? Yeah. So as a result,
even though in the beginning we did take the phone call, and let me tell you, that was nerve-wracking when we send out our first mailing, and all of a sudden the phone rings. Oh shit, this is working. And now I have to pick up the phone and talk to a seller.
Well, it's not nerve-wracking from the point of view. It's a simple
well,
phone call.
if you're an introvert, believe me, it is.
But the very first time you're like, oh my God, the phone rings. What do I do? What do I say? Right. Well, guess what? Now we have scripts, we have walkthroughs, we have things. Our team of coaches works with our students and actually even role play on what to say and how to say it and things like that. Also like the right system. So again, if you don't have systems like for a regular mailing. Like if you want to get your 4 deals a month that we talked about yesterday, 3 to 4 deals a month, well, it doesn't work by sending 50,000 letters out 1 week and then doing nothing for the rest of the year.
I mean, you could, but you need to be prepared to have a huge bottleneck problem because you're not going to be able to service all of the inbound calls. The best way would be to consistently every week basically send out 750 letters to 1,000 letters,
right,
so that you can have a steady flow of always calls coming in, offers that are being made, and deals that are being, put under contract. That would be
right.
a way to go about it for sure.
Oh, Michelle is an introvert. She inched her way in. It used to be only the one in the front, and then little by little we got her in here to also share her wisdom, because really all these processes, by the way, that we're talking about, Michelle created them, right? There are people.
But now our master coaches have made them even better.
Has even better,
yes.
Right? That's correct, right? So again, playing phone, like if you want to have a system for phone call taking, right? We talked about it, a mailing house, a call center, or at the very least an answering machine that can pick up those phone calls, right? So because if you do that yourself, you're going to play phone tag all day long. And how do we know that? Because we tried it first ourselves, right? We first picked up the phone calls ourselves. But guess what? You send out 1,000 letters, and let's say you get a 5% response rate, you get 50 phone calls coming in. Guess what? They're not coming in at 8, 8:15, 8:30, 8:45, at 9. No, they all come in at 8 in the morning. They all come in at 10 in the mid break. They all coming in at lunch break. They're all coming in after work. So your phone starts ringing, and you pick up the phone and you talk to a seller, which is usually a wonderful conversation. And then by the time you on the phone, you miss 3 phone calls. So you hang up, call one back, and then you miss 2 more. And that's going on, and you end up playing phone tag. It's much, much better to systemize that and actually automate it such that somebody else takes that phone call for you.
And
right?
pre-schedule, like, 750 to 1,000 letters at a time.
Yeah,
because otherwise sending
20,000
at once, it's almost like going to the gym for 9 hours and thinking that you're going to be skinny because you went one time to the gym for 9 hours.
Right.
Versus, you know what I mean? So it's that consistency every week of sending them out, for the first 90 days, and then the next 90 days, moving on to the next, actually keeping always a pipeline filled, but moving on to the next stage of your business growth, which we're going to discuss later on.
And Belinda, I agree. I love that problem too. Who wants to have the problem of having too many leads coming in versus no leads? Like no leads is the reality of the house flippers. Too many leads is often the reality of our students here.
Actually, I think we may have Tim Ebier here today. Is he here, Barb? I don't know if he's here.
Yes, he's here.
Hey, Tim, can you spotlight Tim? Because
there we go.
Where is he?
Hey guys.
Right there.
Oh, there is Tim. Hey, Tim, how are you?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Thank you so much for being here with us. I know that you have had in the past the big problem of having, bottleneck and being overwhelmed by deals.
And you had to turn off your mailings for a little bit, right?
Oh yeah. It's still off. It's been off since June.
Okay. And you're still working basically from the mailings that you sent for the first half of the year and selling those properties. And how many deals are you up to closing right now?
We currently closed 25 total. We have another 6 in escrow and another 5 to sell.
Wow, that's amazing. Right. That's amazing. And were you house flipping before, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah. We'll do mostly wholesaling and rental properties and things like that. Yeah.
So now this is.
Well, you're talking 25 land deals here, right?
No, these are strictly land deals, and these are just for this year since we started coaching in February. Prior to coaching, I had 1 deal. Joined coaching in February, late February. We were shut down for like most of March for the Texas winter storm out here in Texas.
Right.
I really couldn't do anything. So this really picked up in Q2 and Q3, right? Where I had time to kind of focus on it. So within like that 6-month period, we had like these 25 deals. We have another, like I said, 11 right now pending. 6 out of those 11 are in escrow, ready to be closed within the next 2 weeks. Then we have 5 left to get sold.
Wow, that is fantastic.
So when we talk about being overwhelmed with deals, I'm glad that you're here to confirm that, you know, that it's not just something that we say, that this actually will happen to you. And it is possible for you.
Michael, Tim has been in the business, in the land business, since February, but then March he was shut down because he lives in Texas, and they had that ice storm where power went out and all this kind of stuff. So really, basically, things picked up in April. So basically, from April till right now, he's done 25 deals. Boom, right? That's absolutely fantastic. Great, Tim. We'll get back with you just in a little bit, one more time, if you're okay with that. If you're hanging with us for a little bit longer, it would be great. So let's go. But this is what happens when you do what our students are doing, right? So he joined us in our program in February, and then really put the turbo on and put the engines on in April when the weather and the storm allowed it. So again, the right systems is a key, and that's what Tim is really focusing on. We can talk about that later in a little bit more. So again, if you schedule a mailings a regular time, every week you schedule time for deal analysis. Every week you make offers. Every week you list properties. Then you get into a structured rhythm of success that we also teach. Now, the next part is the next thing you want to know is number 3 in the list of the key 8 keys to scaling your land business that most investors don't talk about is negotiating with sellers. Yeah. Now, here's the thing, guys. In order to get a random deal done, you don't need to do necessarily negotiation. You not just need to send out enough letters and things and get this all right and get the counties right and all these other things right. But you can't get a deal without negotiating, right? One of our students yesterday got a deal. One of our students that just let us know they got their first deal yesterday and they didn't negotiate at all, right? However, getting from one deal accepted out of a batch of letters to 5, 7, 10 or more deals accepted from that same batch of letters is, like we talked with Mike yesterday, requires that a little bit, like
maybe a second offer, maybe
requires
a call.
some follow-up, requires negotiation, right? Requires potentially getting those, identifying who of those, let's say 1,000 letters that we sent to, who of those 50 people that called back in, who of those are kind of on the fence, and we just need to adjust our offer a little bit in order to be able to get that deal, right? So you want to negotiate with them. You want to negotiate sometimes the timeline, sometimes the price, sometimes other factors. Sometimes they just want to make sure they get the warm and fuzzy feeling about you, that they can trust you, right? And
that is actually so important, that very few people talk about, in which is, you know, relationship building with both the sellers and the buyers. You know, this is something that even, you know, big companies out there are constantly advertising, hey, you know, do business with us, because you're actually going to be able to call in and talk to a warm body. Automation has its place. We use a software, you know, to automate most of the steps in the land flipping from A to Z. But there's this human element that, you know, that we also teach, that people forget, that is a timeless business principle, and it's creating a relationship so that the seller doesn't want to sell to someone else that offers, you know, perhaps a little bit more, but they want to sell to you because they have a relationship with you, or that buyers actually close and don't, you know, back out and get cold feet, you know, a couple hours before closing, because you have a relationship with the buyer, because they know that the property that you're going to bring to them is a good property that that has and meets you know, the exit strategy that they have in mind, and so on and so forth. So creating relationships, that's so important.
Yeah, and then also there's like all these emotional triggers that you can use, that we teach, that how to get somebody to say yes.
There's 11 core buying triggers.
There's 11 core buying triggers that you can use, and now they're not difficult. You just need to know them. Most people don't even aware that they exist and what they are, right? For example, one of her students, Carolina Lau, she actually was tremendously helpful to her on the both selling and the buying side, on the buying and the selling side, because she had a deal where she actually had made a mistake and had offered too much, right? She offered too much. She listed the property. She got people that wanted to interested in buying it, but she couldn't get the right. She couldn't get them to. First of all, she could barely get anyone to say yes, I want to buy that property. But also, which is an indication that there was something wrong with her listing, by the way. Right? Or she actually missed, and that goes to one of the other steps here. I think it's number 6 or 7 here. It's like the communicating. It's number 7, which will come up in a second. So basically, she because she she was struggling on that end of communicating with the people. She's an operations manager, very left brain, a little bit introverted, and she didn't know how to communicate with the seller to get the seller to change their to drop the price, and she didn't know how to communicate with the buyer, right? So as a result, though, of us doing an intervention, of us training her how to do that, she went back and she got the seller to drop the price by several $1,000s, and then she also learned how to make the buyer to say yes. And to say, yes, I want to buy this, and yes, I'm ready to buy that. And guess what? Within a matter of 2 weeks, this property that's been sitting there for like 3 months was sold, right? And that's what happens. That's what people don't talk about. That if you have those skills, without those skills, can you get a deal done? Yeah, right. Can you get 2 deals done? Yes. Can you get a deal, I don't know, deal a quarter or something like that? Yes. But with those skills, you take it from a deal a quarter to 3-4 deals a month. Who wants that? Who wants to 10x their business, right? That's what we're talking about here. So
Now, number 4.
number 4 is double closings done right. Actually, closings done right. Again, we talked about the double closing concept. If you want to cover it, I don't know. Double closing.
It's the same thing as a simultaneous closing,
Right.
or a dry closing, or an ABC closing. Those are different words for the same thing.
By the way, give me a 10x. You can put in 10x if you wanna, or heck yes, if you want to 10x your business, right? 10x. If you want to go to 0, not to a deal every half a year, or but from 0 to 3-4 deals a month, or like Tim to 25 deals in a matter of like, what is that, like 5-6 months right now, or 6 months? About what is it? April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Okay, so we're
Tim is actually
six
doing
and a half, 7 months.
sexy double closings
Yes.
on steroids.
Exactly. So exactly. So let's talk about double closings done right. So the concept of the double closing, one more time explained. We explained it actually on Monday already. So, but if you weren't there on Monday, who was not there on Monday? Just let me see who was not there on Monday, or who does not know how double closings work. Just just let me know, please. We're family here. Please make sure you're honest. Okay, there's a couple of people that say both things that said me, that would like to have a little bit more explanation on that. Okay, good. So here's the thing, just a quick summary of double closings. And again, as Michelle said, it's also double escrow, simultaneous closing, ABC or ABC, dry closing called, different kind of things. So the assignments, we get to that in just a second, Brian. So a double closing is a situation where you have an agreement with the seller, right? Let's say it's a wholesale deal, like the property's worth $50,000, you have it under contract for $8,000, and you have somebody that's willing to buy it from you for $30,000, right? That's a good deal. So everyone okay with that? You're putting on a contract for 8, you're selling it for 30. Is that good? Good. Everyone good with that, right? So now there's multiple ways to do that. One way that everyone naturally thinks of is like, oh my God, now I have to spend $8,000 plus closing costs to buy that property. And then I market it. And what if I get stuck with it? Well, forget about that. Let's throw that out the window. That's not how we do deals. Instead, what most of our students do, including Tim Ebier, I think I mispronounced his name in the past. So Ebier, I think it is.
It's a French last name.
French last name. You can tell us later on again. So instead, what we do is you have a seller that's willing to sell that property to you for $8,000. Great. You use our contract, which our contract has a few provisions that are really, really great. Like, for example, you can back out anytime for any reason. You can market the property while you have it under contract. We don't put any escrow money down on the contract, escrow deposit down, earnest money deposit down ever. And on top of it, we usually allow ourselves 6 months to sell the property, not because we need that long, just because, so we have, in case there's a title issue come up, or in case any other delay happens, right?
So this is the opposite of the house flippers, where they're trying to get the sellers to say, hey, sell me your property because I can close in 7 days.
Right.
We're like, oh.
Our sellers don't care about 7 days. Our sellers aren't like, yeah, sure, I've owned the property 30 years, or I just inherited it. It doesn't matter if you buy it in 30 days, 60 days, or 180 days. Sure, I just want to get rid of the property. So again, so in this deal right now, you have that agreement. You sent that agreement to the seller signs it, you sign it, you have a valid purchase agreement between the seller and you for $8,000. Remember, the property's worth $50,000. So now you go market the property, which our contract allows you to do. So you market the property, you do not own the property yet. You have the right to market the property. So you put it on the market, you market it, you find a buyer that's willing to pay you $30,000 for a property. Right now, the contract is for 6 months, guy. 180 days is the
The
contract.
opposite of house flipping.
Yeah, it's the opposite. The house flippers do 7 days because people are about to lose their house, right? And so they have to line up. That creates a lot of complexities in the house flipping world. Like
You
in
have
the
to
house
line up
flipping,
financing, inspections, everything in 7 days.
everything in 7 days. Like screw that, forget that. We're not dealing with that stuff. We are giving ourselves a half a year to actually buy that property. And if we don't want to buy it, we can back out anytime for any reason. So there's literally absolutely no way you can lose by doing this, right? You guys got that, okay? So now we find the buyer that's willing to buy it for $30,000. So we now sign a new contract with the buyer, which is a different contract. It's a longer agreement that protects us more, right? We sign that thing, and now the buyer commits to pay $30,000. And because we know how to negotiate, we also agree that the buyer pays for the closing costs. So let's say the closing costs are $2,000. So the buyer now wires in. We take both contracts, send them to the title company. Title company does their work. We say like, hey, title company would like to open escrow. It's a double closing, right? We're using the buyer's fund. Are you okay with that? The title company says yes. Not every title company wants to do that. But again, in our pool of documents for the people that work with us, we have a list of over 200 or if not 300 investor-friendly title companies that do that. And this is legal in all 50 states of the country, by the way. Right? In all 50 states of the country, double closings are legal. So
I actually would love to, I see Jeanette right now. She just popped up. Jeanette Amayo, how are you? Can we spotlight Jeanette?
Can I quickly finish
Yeah,
just the thing, and then
because I know she's doing double closings as well.
So then we now have this too. The title company has those. The title company now does all the paperwork, I think, and now comes the key thing, because it's a double closing. The money that's being used to pay everyone involved comes from the buyer. So the buyer now wires in $32,000, $30,000 plus closing costs. And then the buyer now, the $32,000 is sitting in the title company's account. The title company now takes $2,000 for themselves for their work. That takes $8,000, sends it to the seller, and they send $22,000 to you as your profit, right? It's as simple as that. And how much money have you taken out of your own pocket to make that happen? Absolutely zero. What if the deal falls apart? What if for some reason the buyer backs out, or the buyer doesn't buy it, and you don't find another buyer? You just back out of the contract with the seller, right? Or you ask the seller for an extension for another 3 or 6 months, right? So in other words, you can do this. And actually, Phone X says, Colin says, you just made that sound so simple. Now, Jeanette, let's bring you up here for a moment and say, like, Jeanette,
Jeanette now has a PhD in making money from using double closings, right? She actually is a PhD in education. She's a former, educator and now a land flipper.
Right. Tell us about Jeanette. Before you got into, how many deals have you done already?
Oh, geez, I know you guys put me on the spot. How many deals? A lot.
Approximately, like ballpark.
I was like 8. I'm like on the spot.
Are we talking 20? Are we talking?
I'd say like 32. I'm counting as we're going.
Okay.
But I really, everyone has their own business. I veer towards higher end sales, higher end profits. For me, I want to, have that quality for my time. So I'd rather do higher end, larger acreage, that type of thing. So I started out with a lot smaller profits, and now I'm going into larger profits, larger acreage type areas. So definitely my closings are less, but my profits are higher. So
and what does that mean? What's like a profit that you're looking for right now for a
right now, like as we're speaking, one of them is going to, I'm going to get a $50,000 profit on one that I'm doing right now. I sold another one for $70,000 profit. A lot of these are seller financing, so it's like $1,000 a month for the next 10 to 15 years for that one alone. So these are the type of deals I'm doing.
And then you also do double closings, right?
Yeah, so love everything you said about double closings. What I come to find out is the title company is absolutely your best friend and should be your best friend. They should be somebody that you talk with on a regular basis, that you help them understand the whole process you're going to be doing. And not only that, with the title companies, I'm like, I'm going to be giving you mega business because that's what I know is going to happen. And they will turn and they will do anything for me because they are profiting themselves every time that we're doing a closing with the title company. They're making money off of me, which is fair, obviously. But they definitely can be your best friend. You want to talk to them.
Send them cookies. If you find yourself a good one, send them cookies. Thank you, cookies. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I do. And I don't even just wait till Christmas. I mean, they get gift cards throughout the year for them to take out the office and things like that. Because they've done so much for me. I mean, like I can't even talk more about this because I thought deals were done until the title company called the seller and they said, listen, you signed the sale agreement. Jeanette can sue you for not fulfilling that requirement. And then they went through with it. And I thought it was dead in the water. And the title company is what made it happen. So
And you also, yeah, and Jeanette, you also went through our coaching program, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
actually, Jeanette, just so that you guys know, Jeanette went ahead and went all in last year. She decided to burn the boats, leave her job, put this, put the pedal to the metal here. And there's many of you that, either have quit your jobs or you have been laid off. And I want to say that sometimes when those things happen, that's the universe redirecting you into the right path, into the correct path, because that's basically what's happened for Jeanette. And now she's built over $4,000 of passive income, from land notes. How much is it by now, Jeanette?
So it is, I have notes. I tried to be ready because I knew you would ask me. My notes top almost $375,000 in notes and almost $6,000 a month in passive income completely.
There we go. Boom.
In
And
1
how long
year.
have you been doing this, Jeanette?
Well, this is in 1 year. This is since July 6, 2020.
All right, a little bit over a year. Guys, who wants to build up $6,000 a month? That's $72,000 a year in passive income, plus $365,000 in note value, which, by the way, she could sell those for probably $300,000 cash, and plus additional $50,000, $70,000 kind of deals, right? That's what we're talking about here. That's the reality of what's happening when you do what we ask you to do, when you don't just treat this as a hobby, when you don't just treat it as a possibility, when you don't just treat this as something, oh, that's really cool, but when you go full in and you actually go through the eight keys and you actually take those 8 keys seriously, like for example, double closings done right?
So now let's
because
go on.
also you can do double closings even with seller financing deals, right? You can do them such that, let's say if you had that same deal, you have this $50,000 property for under $8,000 on contract. What if you, instead of selling it for $30,000 cash, you sell it for $50,000 with a $10,000 down payment? Could you do that? Yes, right? You sell it for $50,000, get a 20% down payment, $10,000, right? And then the $10,000 alone is already enough to pay the title company $2,000, to pay the seller $8,000. Now, you didn't make any money in the moment of making the deal happen, but you created a note, you created cash flow of $500 a month for the next 15 years. That also adds up to almost $90,000 or over $90,000 in profits just from there. So in other words, you created $500 a month cash flow coming into your pocket without putting any money out of your pocket. Who is excited about that, right? Yeah. Now we can add to that too, because by the way, when you created that note, let's say if you sell it for $50,000, a $10,000 down payment, you created a $40,000 note. Now, if you created a $40,000 note, that now is being paid off. You become the bank. Yeah. Who wants to be the bank? Who wants to be sick and tired of paying the bank instead of being the bank finally, right? So if you do that, now you get this $40,000 note paid off over the next 15 years. Could you go and sell that note? Yes, actually, Tim again, he does a lot of those, and he actually sells those notes now the day that he actually generates it. So not only does he buy the property, sell the property on the same day with double closing, but he also generates a note from it, and then he sells that note the same day that the note is being created. It's almost it's what we call a triple close, right, Tim? You've done a few of those. If you want to unmute yourself for another moment.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, man, without the coaching program, I learned that on one of the coaching daily calls. I think Coach Aaron mentioned for the first time. It's incredible because I've been in real estate for a while and I never knew about that strategy about selling those notes at closing. Matter of fact, we closed 3 this month. We did a triple close. We sold 3 notes to the same note buyer, and we're doing another 3. Supposed to close this month, but we'll probably end up closing early next week, first week of November. It's an incredible strategy. A lot of times, I feel you make more money selling the note at closing than you do cash if you structure it.
Absolutely. So Jean-Pierre, why? Because let's say if you bought this property for $8,000 or put it on a contract for 8 and sell it for 30, you make $22,000. If you sell it for $50,000 with a $10,000 down payment, you now created a $40,000 note. What if you can sell that $40,000 note for $35,000 cash? So right now, instead of making $22,000, you make $35,000, and now in your bank, in your pocket, by just adding one extra level to that. Now, most people don't. If you don't know that, you're going to walk by deals. You're going to say no to certain buyers because the down payment perhaps is not high enough and things like that. You're just not going to make deals happen. You're going to lose out on deals if you don't know how to do that. Does that make sense? So yes, triple close, that's Kate.
Mind blown,
Yes. So again, we're not going to go too much into that because again, we have a lot of beginners here too. We want to be not confuse you guys. I just wanted to crack your mind open to show that the people lose money not because of what they know, sometimes not even because of what they don't know, but it's because of what they know, what they don't know, that they don't know, right? So sometimes you don't even know that you don't know certain things, right? Especially the house flippers like out there. They think they know everything about there is in real estate. And then, yet for decades, they walked by all these land pieces that they could have made a ton of money. And now you combine that with some of these note creating and note selling strategies. And now all of a sudden you got an entire world in front of you that didn't even exist before, right? Yeah. So
we've had many, house flippers that sometimes eat humility sandwiches when they learn new stuff here in the land flipping world.
Right, and so again, and this is the kind of stuff. I mean, we're sharing this all for free with you guys, when other people would charge you $50,000 for just the information that we cover here. So, with that said, again, double closings.
Number 5. We're in number 5. Assignments done right. Assignments. Right. I don't want to say easy, but this is the simplest way to basically flip a property. Right. Where you want to explain?
Sure. Assignments is basically an even simpler concept. Assignment is a concept where, let's say you have the contract with your seller, right? The seller agrees to sell you that same property for $8,000. You have that agreement. Now you market the property, you find somebody that's willing to pay you $30,000 for their property. So you can do the double closing or things that we just talked about, or you can also go say to the buyer, hey buyer, I have this property under contract with the seller right now. Would you like to just take over my agreement and step into my position in the contract and buy the property from the seller instead of me buying for the property? So I can assign my contract over to the buyer, and then the buyer takes that contract over and the buyer buys directly from the seller. So I'm no longer involved in the deal, but for me to assign it, I'm giving him a smoking deal, so he obviously needs to pay me something. So therefore, as I'm assigning this over, I can now ask for an assignment fee. And therefore, this assignment fee in this case could be $20,000. Now, the issue is sometimes that is a problem, because if the buyer has $20,000 in the deal profit, but he sees that you make $22,000 in the deal, the buyer might not be very happy with that. So guess what? If you do that the wrong way, then you end up upsetting. I'm not sure I want to use proper language here. Upsetting.
It's a PG class.
We want to be PG here, right? So we end up upsetting the buyer, and the buyer says, "Screw you! No, I'm not going to do this deal." Right? So instead, if you have the right documents, the right documentation, if we have a document that those that work with us can get that actually does not disclose to the buyer how much you are making as an assignment fee. How cool is that, guys, right? How cool is that? So you use that, you make your $22,000 assignment fee, the buyer's happy, they make their $20,000, and it's all done. So it all comes down to not just a simple land flipping thing. Yeah, like if you go, there's people teach land flipping, that what they teach you is get a $5,000 deal for $500 and sell it with seller financing, and that's great. But you know what? There's so much more to do in the land flipping area. There's $50,000 deals, $70,000 deals, double closing, triple closings, like note creation, you name it, assignments. So there's so much stuff, even land development. We have one of our coaches is now took a property, split it in half, sold part of it for more than she actually paid for the other, for the entire piece. Then now has a free and clear piece of land, and now she's building a $16 million assisted living facility on there. And she's basically in land development. So we as a company, we have all that expertise inside of us. It just most people don't even know that these avenues even exist.
Yeah.
Like land flipping is the entry drug into land, into these huge profits, into all this different kind of things. So we have it all covered. So again, assignments.
Number 6, we have.
And then number 6 on this list is seller renegotiations. Okay. That's something we already talked about a little bit when knowing how to, but it's a different concept. One was, if you, let's say you send out the first one, actually number 3 was negotiating with sellers. What we meant in number 3 was you sent 1,000 letters, you get let's say 50 answers. You make some offers and you get one of these sellers or a few of these sellers on the call and you negotiate a deal. Great, that's one skill. This right now is a different skill. This is a skill of that sometimes happens. You got the deal under contract.
Yeah, you put it under contract, you market it, and somehow you find out once you have it under contract in your marketing, there's something else that is wrong with the property.
Yeah, you find out that it doesn't pass a percolation test.
Yeah,
you
for
find out
example.
that it's landlocked. You find out that perhaps you thought you could put a house on there because there's other houses in the area, but 20 years ago they changed the zoning and now you need a property that's twice the size in order to build a house on it, right? So now you have a property that you cannot build on, the value is much less, and what do? Option number 1, you back out of the contract. Option number 2,
Go back to the seller.
go back to the seller and renegotiate the price down, right? And that's, for example, one of our head coaches did with one of our students, Megan, who now, by the way, is also a coach with us, did that. She had a deal or Christina did that too. They had similar kind of deals. They had a deal that under contract for like, I'd say $20,000, and they thought it was worth 50 or 60, and they marketed it, but they couldn't get anyone to offer more than about $20,000 for the property. So finally, because there were some issues with it that they discovered, finally somebody offered $21,000 for the property. Well, if you have it under contract for 20 and you're selling it for 21, that ain't a good deal, right?
Yeah.
So guess what? Number 1, because she knows how to negotiate, she convinced the buyer to pay 21 and cover all the closing costs on the purchase side. But then she turned around and went to the seller and helped the seller and explained all the issues on the property with the seller. And the seller was willing to go down to $15,000 on the property. So as a result, instead of making like less than $1,000, she ended up making $6,000 on the deal. Now that's not a home run. But is anyone okay with making an extra $5,000 on a deal just by being able to flap your lips and negotiate with the seller? Right? Is that a good deal? Who wants to know how to do that? Right? That's the skills that are part of it. And so being able to do that, that's a key. That if you let me put it that way, if you don't know how to do that, you might end up with every deal. You might end up offering $3,000-$4,000 more than you should. You might leave $3,000-$4,000 more on the table on every single deal. Now you do 100 deals. Guess what? That's $300,000 or $400,000 that you just lost, that you just left on the table just because you didn't know the simple principles of negotiation, the simple principles of talking to the seller and explaining to them and get this down. I mean, this skill can be so extreme that one of our students got a deal on the contract for $120,000. and then realized that that the property was too steep. There's some building restrictions and things like that, and you ultimately cannot build on the property. So that dropped that price from value. It was a huge, wonderful area, custom homes and things like that. So the value of the property was estimated to be $280,000. After this all came out, right? Guess what? The value dropped to like $30,000. He went back and he was able to renegotiate the seller from $120,000 to $5,000, $115,000 drop in price. Guys, this is what thing, and then as a result, he was able to sell that for $15,000 and still make $10,000 on the deal. That's what we're talking about here, the ability to make the deals work even when they occasionally don't look like they can be work. And if the seller doesn't agree, guess what? You just back out of the deal, you lost nothing, you move on, and you do another of the many deals that you have coming in. Right, so that's another way. And then what else do we have?
We have number 7. We have building relationships with buyers to close deals, because there's a difference between marketing and there's a difference between actually having a closing conversation, knowing those 11 core buying triggers, asking the right questions so that you can actually get a deal closed. And that comes from, inside of our coaching program, for whoever does not have any experience doing that, it comes from role playing with your coaches, with your master coaches, and in learning how to do that. If they say yes, or if they say this, then you say that. If they say no, then you say this, and it's really just an exercise in getting used to talking to buyers and eliciting the right questions and the right direction of the conversation to get them to the point where they're like, okay, I'm ready to send you my money to the escrow company so we can close on the deal.
Right. So again, just a reminder, number 6 was seller renegotiation. So again, if a deal is something negative comes out about the deal after you have it under contract, you can negotiate the price back down with the seller. It's not a given. The sellers are often, they're like, yeah, you offered me 20 grand. I accepted it, but yeah, if you can now offer only 5, I'll still take the 5, no problem, right? And number 7 was communicating with buyers the right way to close the deals. And you can literally take this all the way to the bank, guys.
Yeah.
Like, again, people want to be seen, people want to be heard, people want to be responsive. We train our students in our program to really be standing head and shoulders above their competition in responsiveness, right? If somebody's interested about the property, do you want to respond 3 days later, or do you want to respond now, right? And again, how to automate it, how to outsource that, how to make sure that over time as you scale, that becomes something that becomes your strength over time. But then also you want to nurture a relationship with them. And then most importantly, as Michelle just said, you need to also be able to ask closing questions. And again, if we bring back to Carolina Lau the other day, what I mentioned earlier, she was struggling. She would use those last 2 things exactly to make that deal happen. She was able to go back to the seller, drop the price, and she was able to now, after being trained on it, to talk to buyers in a way that the buyers not just got information, but the buyers said yes to her question of, are you ready to buy this property now?
It's reducing friction in a conversation,
right,
and knowing how to artfully do that to get basically people to say yes. And it comes from understanding, from being there first of all with a heart of service, of wanting to serve your buyer, not wanting to slam them and sell them a property that they're not going to be able to do what they intend to do. That if they are not able to do what they want to do with the property, that you tell them, because what's going to happen is that those people, even though they might not buy this piece of property, they're going to buy the next. But more than anything, because you showed high integrity, they're going to refer others to come and buy from you. And that is so, so important. And it comes again with developing human connection, human relationships, and so on.
Yeah, you want to treat them as humans. You want them to be heard. You want to, again, you don't need to be an experienced investor. Like, you don't need to be an experienced person in doing this. You just need to be willing to learn from the best, right? You want to be willing to learn from the best. You want to be willing to give it your best, to learn those different steps. But at the end of the day, dealing with sellers and dealing with buyers is human relationships. Yes, there's a lot of things in this business that can be automated and outsourced. But at the end of the day, you're still dealing with humans. You still want to do the right thing. And guess what? As Michelle said, they either buy from you or they send you somebody to buy from you. The other day, we closed on a property with a buyer. They were so excited by the customer care they got from us. They got so excited by the communication they got from us that the moment that deal closed, they sent us their cousins to buy more deals from us.
Yeah.
right?
We had a gentleman that when we were in July, we spent the entire month of July in Hawaii that we had sold a parcel to, and he lives in Lanai, and we didn't meet him, but he was, many months later after we had sold that piece of land to him, Jack reached out and he said, we're going to be in Lanai. Can you give us a list of great places to eat? And he was so, gracious and sent us all details on all the places and all the things that we needed to do. And that comes from having built a relationship with them,
Right.
having that human connection, like you're seeing it here right now. We bring that across all our companies, not just in our land flipping, also in our multifamily business, in our educational business. That's why you see here human connection, real humans connecting with you on DM, connecting with you on the phone, building relationships with you. Like this is something that we strongly believe that I think makes you stand head above shoulders anyone else, because you can automate everything and you can depersonalize everything, but we're going towards a world where we all are craving more of that human connection and relationships. So.
Right, exactly right. So, and you want to do that in everything.
So
we even do that. And by the way, the question of somebody was, how about marketing? And what's question number 8 is coming up. 8 and 8 is about marketing. So just hold on, stay with us for a second. But this is really a life principle of doing what's right and communicating and being transparent and talking to people and treating them as human beings and so on. We do that even in our multifamily properties. Like we make money in land flipping and we roll our money from land flipping over into other things. Like it's almost like a pyramid of wealth, if you want to call it, that the bottom is like you make more money, right? The way your
cash machine.
Your ticket to a financial abundance doesn't come from eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and starve yourself to being debt free. Your ticket to financial wealth is having a foundation of that's a big cash machine, right? A big cash machine. So if you build that cash machine, now on top of that cash machine, you use that to roll into other asset classes down the road and buy cash flow property, so that once you're really done with anything active, you have cash flow coming in through all doors in all kinds of different ways.
And can actually pass on that wealth, to your family, to
Yes,
your heirs.
Exactly right. So we do, but the principles that we just talked about are the exact same principles, right? Because when we have apartment complexes, and guess what? There's an apartment complexes that we're selling right now that where we're getting $100 more per month per rent per unit. That property is not prettier than other unit properties in the area. It's not. It's in great condition, but not much better condition than other properties in the area. Why are we getting more $100 more per apartment per month on this property than anyone in the neighborhood? Because it's the only community that we've created that in the neighborhood. It's not a place for people to go to sleep. It's a community that has community events that people love being in. Guess what? What that means, we're treating people like human beings. We're
like
treating them.
Every family with kids,
Right.
Is getting school supplies at the beginning of the year. They have a tutor. We have a tutor coming in on certain days of the week to teach the kids, after school on anything that might be struggling. So we try our best to create a community and create relationships with them there as well. The same here, you have access. We create relationships with you guys even before you have started the masterclass. You had somebody in touch that welcomed you, that made you feel like you were at home, and that's what you want to do for sellers and buyers as well when you're working on your own land flipping business.
Exactly right. So that brings us, and again, and so to the point of number 7, which was communicating with buyers. And again, we even do role playing with our coaching students, and in our environment, role playing to our coaches. They ask, if I say that, what do you say? And then we teach them back and forth. Even scripts. We have even a spreadsheet with scripts that says, like, if the buyer says that, you answer that. If the buyer says that, you say that. So really, so because we understand not everyone knows how to work in those situations, right? Like, and again, I never sold anything. I never sold a piece of land. I was like this. I played the clarinet, and I was in the band, and I was like the geeky kind of guy.
You have to learn it with experience.
You have to learn with those experiences. Yes. So
number 8 is having a solid pre-marketing plan with an exit in mind, and that means that you already know, what you're going to go out to market with that property even before you buy it. And that that if it doesn't sell within the first week, you have already planned price drops so that your buyers list knows, that after a week, if it doesn't sell, okay,
Right.
a new email comes out and there's a promotion and they're offering a 5 or 10% discount and that they're going to buy it. So you want to think about these things in advance and have those already planned and have the minimum that you're willing to basically profit on the property, and start with the top in mind. And then if it doesn't sell, start doing price drops and price drops and price drops all the way.
And also, like, to rephrase it again, having a solid marketing and pre-marketing plan that is based on the exit in mind. So you look at a deal. If it's a $200,000 property that you get under contract for $80,000 and you're selling for $130,000, you have a different marketing strategy than if it's a $10,000 deal that you get for $500. In one, you can offer seller financing. In the second one, in the first one, it's probably a cash deal. So if it's a cash deal, you need to present it differently. You need to talk to your buyers a little bit different, right? You need to, and your listing needs to be generated just slightly a little bit different than what you do there, right? And then also, and then you drop. Again, you need to create sexy headlines. You need to create the listing really beautifully, and we'll talk about that all day tomorrow. So make sure you definitely, tomorrow is one of the most important sessions to attend.
Actually bringing the money home.
Right, bringing the money home and how to do that and how to create the listings and so on. But the key is that if you know this is a seller financing property, then you have already, you design your listing different and you make your price drops different. You change your terms different than if it's a cash deal. And that's really, it's not hard. It's just different, right? And that's what allows you to make these properties sell quickly. Because if nothing happens, if X happens, you change this. If you see that you got a bunch of properties people on your website, but nobody inquires, then you know the listing is bad. If you know that you got a lot of inquiring, but nobody buys, then the price needs to be dropped, right? And then you do those things and you do those activities, including also reaching back out to your buyers that already have expressed interest. In other words, you're building a buyer's list. And if you build what's called a buyer's list, is a list of people that already indicated that they have an interest in what you have to offer. So guess what? You built that buyer's list so that when you do a price drop, you go back to them and say like, hey, I just dropped the price. And if you have repeat buyers that told you they want to buy in a certain area, sometimes your properties don't even make it onto your website. They don't even make it onto Zillow, or they don't even make it onto Facebook Marketplace. You literally just reach out to your buyers and like, hey, this is the area that you like to buy in. Are you interested in this property? Here are the details. Here's a few pictures. And they're like, yeah, how much? Well, it's worth 50. I can give it to you for 30. It's like, how about 28? Great, deal done. You got under contract for 12. You just made $16,000 without even marketing the property, right? But you need to, there's a strategy, guys, right? Again, everyone can do a deal. It's not about a deal. Who wants to do one deal ever in your entire lifetime? No. Who wants to do 5 deals a month, right? And pull in $50,000 and $70,000 like Jeanette does? Right? Who wants to do that? Give me a heck yes if that's what you want to do, right? So
now the next part in the workbook is the 4 stages of growth, guys. And the 4 stages of growth is basically us giving you really a 1,000-foot view of what the next year could look like for you all in terms of working every single 90 days in 4 stages. The first stage being your startup phase. Their startup phase is a phase where 80% of small businesses usually fail. And that's because you're trying to learn, you're learning all the systems, you're learning all the terminology, you're learning everything that you need to do on the acquisition side of the business, everything that needs to happen in terms of paperwork. You're trying to learn everything that needs to happen on the sales side. If you don't have the business skills, you're trying to learn those business skills. And so a lot of people actually, this startup phase takes them out of the game. Yeah.
Right.
And it requires that you have support, that you surround yourself with support to make sure that you stay in the game, because this very first stage is all about complexities of scarcity. You don't have enough time, you don't have enough money, you don't have enough knowledge, you don't have enough resources, you might not even have team, So this startup phase is so crucial that you surround yourself with support, and that you basically remove all the barriers for you. Like we do, for example, inside of our 12-month incubator program, we remove the barriers for everyone that is in this startup phase by having access to our coaches every single day, master coaches in group calls, having one-on-one access to master coaches as well. We have a 6-week intensive that, already in that 6 week, we have people, not everyone does it, of course, but we have people like Brandon George that you're going to hear about tomorrow, I think, or Friday, that in those first 6 weeks, he was able to do his first $27,000 deal. So that startup
And
phase.
then he has like 29 or something like that, or almost like dozens of more deals. I don't recall the exact number right now, but literally dozens of deals are like, gone up because he's now advanced and into phase number 2.
Yeah. So startup phase, it's putting all your processes in place, your systems in place. And like I said, it's figuring out the business model. That's what startup phase is all about. And so you want to do everything to remove barriers so that you can stay in the game and pass this first 90-day cycle or this first 90-day stage to move on to the next stage, which is build up or ramp up. Yeah. And in this stage, usually what happens is, you have already done a few deals. You're right now ramping up your volume, you're ramping up your mailings, or perhaps you're scaling by looking at larger deals like Jeanette is doing, or like Tim is doing as well. And you have basically, you have a situation where you may still be doing all the work yourself. Jeanette or Tim, I don't know. Are you guys bringing in are you already in stage 2 or stage 3 where you're already bringing in Tim? Tim?
To answer your question, we're in I guess the build out phase. We're looking to start hiring this month and next month.
Okay, so you're in stage 3 already. You're in build out. Yeah.
And Jeanette, how about you? You have team members already in place?
Yeah, I have team members doing different aspects of the business for sure.
But when you started, you didn't, right? You started it on your own.
Actually, for 8 months, I did absolutely everything myself. And I'm glad I did. For me, it was the best thing I ever could have done, because I don't want a team member coming on until I can fully understand the process and fully teach it to them and have it done the way I would expect it to be done.
Exactly right. And that's very, very common, and that's what would be phase 1 and even phase 2, that you set the startup, you set up your systems, you get your first deal done, then you do get overwhelm yourself with deals, get a bunch more done, but you still in most cases do most of the work yourself.
And at this point you have the cash to basically bring someone else on board to start doing some of those non-critical things that do not move the needle forward. Yeah.
And that's the path to mastery, guys, because after that comes phase 3. And phase 3 is what we call the build out, which what Tim just said is in place, and Jeanette are in this stage 2. Phase 2 is build up or ramp up, you can also call it build up. And then phase 3 is build out. Okay, so it's almost sounds the same.
So but first you ramp it up and then you build it out.
So you start, then you go high, build it up, and then build it out. Okay, and building out means bringing the structures in place. Right. So hope that makes sense.
And team in place.
And at that point, bring your team in place. Again, as we told you all week long, the goal here is mastery. The goal here is for you to run a business as big as you want to.
Yeah.
Now, if your goal is 10 deals a year, you never probably need the build out phase. You still need phase 1 and 2, right? You still need phase 1 and 2. You still need to get it going and then you keep running it yourself, right? But the ideal is you go at least into phase 3. And to phase 3, and build out could mean one virtual assistant that takes care of the work that you just don't want to do, right? Like there's something, building the life of your dream also means that you take away out of your life all the things you don't enjoy doing. Who's following me on that, right? So if you still clean your house, that's the first thing that should go, right? That first thing that should go, if you don't enjoy it, unless you're a lover of house cleaning, right? Then you clean your house, right? That's okay. But I have met very, very few people that absolutely love cleaning their house, right? So the same thing is your business. If you don't like doing the due diligence and finding out what the property values are, then you bring somebody in, you train them on how to do it, and then they do it, and you have another time free in your business. If you don't enjoy talking to buyers, then you go specialize in perhaps hiring realtors to sell the properties for you. and you don't longer need to talk to
You
buyers.
don't want to scrub the list.
If you don't want to scrub the list, you shouldn't be needing to do that anyway. That's
Yeah.
automated for you already anyway.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to talk, if you don't want to make offers, if you don't want to create listings, we now have an exclusive partner for those in our coaching program that she can create lists for our students at a small fee, listings for our students for a small fee. So if you want to create those listings that we talk about tomorrow, then yeah, there's somebody that you can outsource that to that does that for you, right? So as a result, you keep what you love and you outsource and you automate and outsource what you don't love. And in both Jeanette and Tim's case, Jeanette or Tim, what aspects of the business are you now handing off to people around you, Tim?
We hand off the comps, the inbound calls. We hand off the ads listing. Obviously, the title work with the title company. So
Sure.
those are the major ones for now.
Right, exactly right. And how about you, Jeanette? Which parts do you delegate and outsource now?
So the acquisition side, we have an acquisition manager that takes care of everything involving the buying side with the sellers. I do have people helping to market my ads, and then I do have people helping to sell. I'm still looking to get more help and more VAs in doing more of the posting.
And that's because, guys, because the businesses are both spitting out cash, and that cash, they are able to reinvest in team,
a portion of it,
yeah, in team, so that they can have a life rich in entrepreneurial freedom and make more, have more freedom while making more money. Yeah.
And obviously you decide how far you want to go there. Again, we have students that run 100 deals a year with one assistant, right? And we have students that run 100 deals a year with 3 people. And as a result of that, they only work 2 hours a day on doing 100 deals and making 7 figures, guys.
Yeah.
So again, so it's up to you, but the process is, Jeanette, how much real estate and business building experience did you have before you joined us?
Oh my gosh, 0. Like, I don't even know. If you would have told me, okay, we're going to close. I'm like, all right, we're going to close the door. I don't know. I knew zero language. I didn't even know really what a title company does. I'm telling you, I had zero knowledge. Every single vocabulary word was new. Every single process was new. There was I had purchased and bought a house, but my realtor had done everything. So I had no experience, and I had been in education. And just it was not something that I had ever been exposed to. And so absolutely everything was totally new.
Right, and see, and that's exactly the point that we take people through the 12-month program. That it's through the four phases, right? Because we will take you to the process of how do you hire a virtual assistant? Why do you want to do that? How do you compensate them? How do you manage them? How do you do all these different things so that literally everyone, even if you start from 0, can make that happen.
I just want to hear Jeanette, and Tim as well. Probably both, just honor you for the commitment, to focusing on one thing and mustering the courage, Jeanette, even though you had no background, no experience, and really, rolling up your sleeves and gaining the capability, doing the hard work like a business athlete, just overcoming challenges along with your coach. And now look at you, so confidently saying, I'm looking to get more help and really, having the confidence of a CEO, of her own business, making her own money and building her own future, and now having the opportunity to have your children, stand on your shoulders and continue, your legacy. So that is amazing. And that's something that, people don't understand, that we're talking about land flipping, we're talking about deals, but it's a business that if you allow it, it'll sculpt your spirit, it'll sculpt those around you. It'll basically help your kids really start not at ground zero where perhaps Jeanette or where Jack and I started. Our Sophia is going to start at a completely different level than where we started, and that's That's beautiful.
Yeah,
That
you-
for us is transformational. We know that we're affecting the next generation. And
Yeah.
although maybe Jeanette's kids or grandkids may never know us, I feel tremendous joy knowing that we have contributed in so many people's lives in some way, shape, or form to seeing the world, with abundance, having a consciousness of prosperity versus a consciousness of lack and poverty. And that excites me. That makes me want to wake up every day and continue doing this.
And Jeanette is just one of the examples of they're doing just as fantastic.
Yeah.
And that
Every
they're
time.
breaking generational curses, right?
Yeah.
Breaking the history of like of struggling financially, of being like middle class financially, and like really breaking through. And by the way, John, the answer is yes. Is like will our concierges or coaches answer any question they have? Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely,
Exactly
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So
So with that, I just wanted to now lay out for you guys what is possible in terms of going through these 4 phases very quickly. So in Q1, it's possible, and of course, every single one of you is going to come to us with different with different backgrounds, with different levels of experience, with different levels of investing in real estate experience. But what we see happening is that in the first 3 months, 90 days, if you had, and this doesn't happen for everyone, but we have students that go through it, and in 90 days, they have 3 deals. And if each of those deals, on average, nets them $15,000, that's
Then-
$45,000.
quite possibly there could be $45,000 in your bank account already. All right. And again, it's like Max Fulmer, they've done $113,000 in the first 3 months. And by the way, the fourth phase is mastery. So it's startup, it's build up or ramp up, it's build out, and then it's mastery. And the
Yeah.
goal is to reach mastery in a matter of those 12 months, right?
Yeah.
So, and that you can even break it into quarters, right? The first quarter, as Michelle just said, you get that first deal done, or the first couple of 3 deals done. And again, and make your first 20, 30, 40, 50,
And that's
1,000 or
ROI, and that's
$130,000.
ROI right there on your time, energy, effort, It's-
Investments and so
yeah.
on.
Q2, which is we're 6 months into it, it's possible, for example, that you may have already done 7 deals. And if on average they're $15,000 deals, we're talking your first 6 figures. This is $100,000. It's not uncommon for us to see that inside of our Land Profit Masters coaching community.
And Tim is an example of
Tim
that.
is an
Again, not
example.
everyone does that. It depends on your skill level. It depends on how much effort you're willing to do, how quickly you're willing to learn, and are you willing to follow our advice and so on. But Tim, you're now 7 months into it, and you have done, how many deals was it? 25 deals?
20.
Yeah, 25 today. Yep.
Right. And if you just add, what's the largest deal that you've done of those?
30K.
30K. Okay. So one deal, 30K. What's kind of an average deal for you?
Yeah, our average deal is at 7,500.
All right, so it's a little bit smaller deals, but then again, is every deal 7,500? No, some probably are 3,000, some are some are 20 and $30,000, and that's a beautiful thing. So again, he's already in the multiple 6 figures within the first 7 months of being in the program. Is that accurate?
Yeah, we're at 174.
All right, wonderful.
Yeah.
So approaching $200,000.
So Q3, which is that 3rd stage, that's 9 months in. Maybe you've done, I don't know, 10 deals. That's $150,000. That could possibly be $150,000. And if we're at the 4th stage, with just mastery, and maybe you've only done conservatively 15 deals, but look at Jeanette, she's already 30 something, but she's a little bit over the 12 months. At 15,000, that is a possible 225,000. If that is just year 1. So now let's project ourselves into the future.
Because
And now-
almost every one of our students doubles or triples what they do in year 2 compared to year 1.
So now let's project
Right.
ourselves into the future and say that in year 2, you do a Mike Meyer thing and he brings in, 50 deals. 50 deals.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he did actually 50 on his first one, but let's say you do on your second 50 deals because you don't bring any house flipping experience. And you have 50 deals of $15,000. That's about $750,000. And now year 3, you bring in 80 deals, not 100, just 80. That is a potential $1.2 million. So this is not a rich, quick, plan that I'm laying out. This is a 3-year plan, but this is so doable. And we see it being done inside of our Land Profit Masters.
We have people that are going through our program that in their coaching program, they only did 3 deals during the entire program, but then that laid the foundation to afterwards do the hockey stick kind of thing. And since then,
Like
they've
John,
never made
yeah.
less than $1 million a year, right? We have again, Anil and Tara that are in their first year did $750,000, and now they're on track with this in the first 18 months, well, in the last 12, in the next 12 months, they're on track to do well over $1 million, right? So that's, again, it's not slow, but the key is like, even the bottom end of that, even like we take it, Lee and we have a couple that where she's in their 70s and he's in his 80s.
Oh,
right?
Eileen
and Lee Cook, they've done $240,000 in the first like 18 months or so in the program.
Yeah.
It's like, so by the way, who wants that? Who wants that kind of thing? If you want that, and if you want to work with us, we've got to talk about it more later in this week. We have one more thing that we want to cover right now is then put in the words, skip the line. If you want to work with us in our 12 months program, then put in the word skip the line, so and our team can talk to you guys about that, right? Skip the line. We want to see, ideally, we have 250 people here. Want to ideally see like obviously 250 skip the lines, because otherwise you'll be with us already like all these days here. So in other words, skip the line. And then the other piece then we want to talk about right now, actually, I had forgotten right now that there was a bonus key to the first session that we talked about.
Metrics, yeah.
The keys is like, we covered the keys of selecting the right areas, having the right system, negotiating with sellers, double closings done the right way, assignments, seller negotiation, communicating with the buyers, having a solid pre-marketing plan. And there's actually an additional one, and that is running your business by the proper numbers, running the business by metrics, knowing how to do this, right? And for that, we actually on Friday, we're going to have a special session, right, where we're going to have a few of our team members join us.
We're actually having a demo. We're showing a screen and basically showing you
exactly how you run your business by the numbers. For those of you who are left brain, if you need that extra, for those who want that extra information, make sure you also come on Friday. Now, tomorrow, again, we're covering the last big missing piece, which is how the heck do we sell these properties such that they fly off the shelves?
Yeah.
How do we do them such that Tim has like 6 under contract right now for sale, another a bunch marketing? How does Jeanette make $50,000-$70,000 a deal? How do we do those things? That's coming tomorrow. So, but whoever already knows, for those of you who already knows that you want to get active, that this is that we're the right people for us to work with, then make sure that you put in the word skip the line, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day,
the skip the line is basically for you to, to talk to someone in our team to see if we're a good fit, because we are the best in the world at what we do. So we only want the best, to work with somebody that is going to give us their best. It is going to be a business athlete that is not going to be, at the slightest setback is going to be taken out of the game, but that is going to be in the game, committed, working hard, doing what we ask them to do, being coachable. Those are the type of people. So go ahead and apply for an interview with them, and that's what the skip the line would do.
And then also again, the goal here is the purpose here is, the plan here is for you to create your own revolution, to create your own economy. Again, Who wants to create your own economy? Put in a heck yes in. Who wants to create their own economy? Because it doesn't always have to be perfect, right? It doesn't matter if your internet is slow. It doesn't matter if the weather is bad. It doesn't matter if politicians are fighting, right? You can take imperfect action like Casey and Courtney, who were in our coaching program and didn't follow all our things, for example. And then halfway through, they didn't even make offers on the properties. But then we had a heart-to-heart with them. So it's like, listen, guys, you enrolled here. You really need to do this. Guess what? And they made the offers, and now guess what? They're in our Hall of Fame. Courtney's a coach in our organization, right? They were able to sell their other business and just like for almost nothing, just get rid of it because it was just tying up their time. And now they're traveling to their country. They're buying a new house. They're living in abundance.
You can always find them at a concert.
Always find them at a concert again. So think about abundance, guys, right? Yeah. Think about expansion. Think about mastery, right? Yeah. That's what we talk about. That. So if you have other things to do, you can do this part-time. We started this part-time. We didn't have a choice. We had a job that was giving us our green card. If I would have quit that job, or if we would have quit those jobs, we would have had to leave the country. So the only way we were able to do this was through being in a was in the evenings
side
and on the
hustle.
weekends as a side hustle. So
You
we have
can do
lots
this
of
without
things.
a team. You can do this as a side hustle. You can
Right.
do this part-time. You can do this if you're a stay-at-home mom. You can do this if you're an engineer,
Right.
if you're a teacher, if you have a house flipping background. If not, like, you can do this. There's really no excuse for not doing it. And just like Jack was saying and talking about Courtney and Casey, you know, we are a team here that is rain or shine, you know, whatever is happening, we're here to support you, to link arms with you, and to get you to the next, you know, to
Right.
the next step.
So
We're not a company that is here to, you know, take your money, run with it to Mexico, because we're 4 hours away here in Phoenix from the Mexican border, and leave you like roadkill on the side of the road. Yeah.
No.
So that's not who we are.
all right. So that's guys. Skip the line in if you guys want to work with us, want to apply for working with us in our 12 months program. And with that said, one more thing, homework today.
Oh, yeah.
Homework, because here's the thing, for those who put in homework all on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we're going to also give away a partial scholarship to one of our programs, valued up to $7,500, right? It's a partial scholarship to one of our programs, valued up to $7,500. We're going to give that away. And the homework question is,
It's, how will you scale your business, and which stage should you focus most on? Some of you are already doing land flips, so maybe you're not already in startup phase. Maybe you're in the next phase. Maybe if you're a complete beginner, you're in startup. Maybe you're already, you know, trying to get into the next one. So how will you scale your business, and which stage should you focus on most? Yeah. And I was actually yesterday on the homework post giving you guidance and direction for you guys that didn't have clarity or were not specific enough in the number of counties and the types of areas. If you post, I will be there this afternoon as well, and I will definitely be giving you guidance. And if you need to DM me as well. I'm available. We're all here available, because that's just how we are. Yeah.
that's how we are. All right.
Okay.
So with that said, guys, homework, go back in. It's in the Facebook group. So if you if you don't have Facebook yet, download it, set yourself up an account, and go into Facebook, right? And go over to the Facebook group, and the Land Profit Masterclass Facebook group. That's where it is all happening. Also, thank you, Jeanette, and thank you, Tim, for being here and sharing your wisdom with us. You guys rock, right? You guys are absolute rock stars. And again, with you guys, there's like 100 more rock stars like they're out there too. So we really thank you for that. This works. We can't wait to see your
These
success.
two I know are coming up very soon for the
For the Hall
Land
of
Profit,
Fame, right.
yeah, for the Hall of Fame.
Right.
I know it for sure. So
Right.
thank
Okay.
you so much for making us proud, and thank you so much for trusting us, guys, and putting in the work and making us look good, because at the end of the day, they are doing the work. Yeah?
And then tomorrow, one more set. Well, tomorrow is very, very important. It's all about selling these properties, bringing the cash home, and how we list these properties, how we create our listings, and so on and so forth. All right. With that said, see you guys tomorrow.
Thank
Thanks.
you so
Bye-bye.
much. Bye-bye.